My advice to you, start drinking heavily. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? Come on, you douchebags, we're all on the same team!
Frank, are you a good kisser? You like smooching?
No!
Shut the fuck up, man.
Standalone fruit.
You look like assholes right now, man.
Mark found him naked in the bathtub, passed out with water flowing all over him.
This country is going straight to hell.
Did you hear this broad?
God damn it!
This is going great.
Liar!
No way, Corky.
And I'm gonna kick the living shit out of you, and I'm gonna knock your dick in the dirt.
Fucking fascist!
Sounds like pigs fucking.
Ridiculous.
You're a small petty. You're a small petty man.
It will be 9/11 times 2,356.
Are you trying to drive me crazy? What the fuck happened?
I'm producing a show.
All right, here we go. It's been a minute. I don't remember the last time I've done one of these, but let me turn my mic down a little bit. But with me, this is going to be an exciting episode. With me today, I have Erikslader and Chris Carroll.
Hello.
How's it going?
How are my boys?
Doing well. It's been a long time.
It's been, man. You know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot has happened, and for those of you who don't know, they are the host of the Epik Fails podcast, which is about the blunders of history. And
That's right.
There's also a book series, so we're going to dive into all that. But before we do that, I just like to start all the shows with just something a little inspirational.
And God bless the United States.
United States. Kofefi.
Oh, God.
That might be one of my favorite things. So,
Yeah.
I guess we could dive into that real quick. Speaking of history,
Is it 2020 yet?
yeah. So, what do you think the current affair, as far as history, is? Especially when we're talking about the blunders of the past. What do you think the blunders of the present and the future are going to be, and maybe the repercussions of all that?
So I think you just really have to turn on the news. It's right there.
It's fake.
Well, the thing is, like, everywhere you look, there's all kinds of stuff going on where you can point to and be like, holy Jesus, like, what? That's horrible.
Yeah.
But I think, like, the two things that are really, that history will look at would be the unequal distribution of wealth. And I don't mean, like, let's go communist, but you've got so few people with so much money.
I did not invite a socialist.
But you got that, and then you've got this really crazy thing where, like, it felt, at least over the last maybe decade or so, that there was, not that it was gone, but that maybe, like, this fear-mongering, like, hatred and bigotry over, like, nothing, like sexuality and race and everything like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that was starting to go away a little bit. Like, maybe it was starting to age out, maybe.
Yeah. It felt like it was going away, and then I was just like,
it went way back the other way. Now, and someone mentioned this the other day, and I thought it was interesting that that's kind of where it's been going. Where you go from Bush far right, and you go Obama, who not far left, but left,
Yeah.
and then even
Left
further
enough.
right. So then, next would probably be like
Super left.
a Bernie Sanders type or someone like that.
Yeah.
And then you go so far right that when does it end? When do we go more towards like
We
centrist?
really need
Yeah.
So I think
middle ground.
but I think the biggest thing is, and I think typically the people that are going out of their way not to try to work towards a solution is the climate change. Is the fact that not only are we not doing anything significant enough
That might be the biggest blunder.
But
in
but
history.
we have a president who has specifically said that he doesn't believe in it.
He said it's a Chinese hoax.
Yeah, I mean this, and the thing is about this ass clown is that he's like brainwashed, and I don't know if it's a brainwashing thing or if it's just there's a bunch of people who don't like to think.
God bless the United States.
That they buy into his bullshit. It's like, oh, he's gonna run the country like a company, and it's like, well, A, that shouldn't ever happen. It's not how it's designed.
Yeah.
And B, this asshole's bankrupted every company he's ever ran.
Yeah.
And he's just so. And I'm pretty obviously. I really don't like the guy, but
you don't say.
You don't really get a lot of, and maybe that's part of the problem too. Is you don't really get a lot of middle ground. It's either you really hate him,
You're
or
so
you really
far
love
left,
him.
or you're so far right.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem is that he polarizes people so much that instead of trying to like have somebody, and you say what you will, I know a lot of people didn't like Obama, but he at least tried to unite a little bit, try to work across the aisle and like kind of get past the things that divide us. And then now we've got somebody who points at it. And I think that's kind of what people are going to look at.
And with the Obama, I mean, I voted for him twice, but I got the feeling is like this is actually a genuine person, where with Trump and just
it's a persona,
yeah,
right?
and then like all the mudslinging and all that. I was just like, why are you doing that? Like
when he was running, I thought he was like a character like Borat. I thought he was like a method actor. There's no way this guy's genuine,
Yeah.
That's just the feeling I got from him.
And I was completely wrong. I never thought.
Well, I thought he didn't
this
have a
was
chance in the world.
Yeah,
I didn't think
Clinton
he had
all
a
the
chance
way.
in the world of even making it to the primaries, and then I thought he didn't have a chance in the world of winning the primaries.
Yeah, and then
I
it
thought
just kept rolling.
and it just not only kept rolling, but like as you got closer and closer to the actual general election, it was this feeling came in of like, holy shit, did we not stop this in time? Like, is this actually
like this actually happening?
It was kind of like, all right, let it play out. This is funny, and then
then
it played out too far, and now it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I feel like people just kind of wanted to see what would happen, like just kind of like setting everything on fire.
Yeah, and now he's like Nero.
And the scary thing is, and I know
it's like where does it end?
And I know there's people on the left who are just diehard. You can never change their opinion. But the scary thing is when you have someone in power, their followers. It was like, how many indictments? How many fucked up things does this guy have to say? Like how many like repeals of like the EPA and all that will like.
That's the thing. Remember early on,
it's unprecedented.
Early on, especially like within the first year in particular, I remember Erik and myself hanging out with Jamie, a buddy of ours, Jamie Lester, and we would be talking about that. Like, I mean, it's at some point like the floor is gonna fall out because like you've got all these indictments coming. It's so clear that they're crooked. It's so clear they're manipulating the system. It's so clear they're lying through their teeth right to everyone's face, and like the press keeps calling them on it. At some point, like his sheep have got to look and go, okay, yeah, this is a disaster.
It's like
but it's the opposite.
Not what we signed
up for. It's the opposite.
It's
they hunker down.
They double down. So like at this point, I really feel like it's a lot like Bush's people were, where I felt like he could punt a baby off the side of an aircraft carrier, and they'd be like, "Well, I mean, that baby probably had ties to Al Qaeda." And now Trump would just make some sneer and be like, "Fake news." And then go like feel up his daughter, and everyone would
those
be
babies
like,
were
Donald.
terrible babies. Yeah. They deserve to die. They're all idiots. And I was like, what? And then, and also like the scary thing with Trump from a history standpoint is all these rallies he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's very reminiscent of
certain fascist regimes.
Yes.
Yeah, that
really any fascist regime. Everybody always wants to bring up the big one, but
people
if you
like
look at any of them, that's what it is. It's some
It's more-
red-faced maniac screaming his head off about nothing, just rhetoric.
I mean,
and a bunch of sheep just going, yay!
It reminds me a lot of Mussolini.
Yeah, it's
you
the
know?
same thing. It's the
well,
same
it,
thing.
it kind of feels like Jonestown, just on like a much larger scale, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like he's our leader, and we will
personality.
do anything that.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like. 'Cause,
classic.
like, here's the thing. I feel like, and I know that not everybody is like this, but so I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush because that's not fair.
You're all
but
stupid.
there's a lot of. It feels like, and I may be wrong about this, but it feels like, in general, people who are not just Republican but the far right refuse to admit mistakes, and they refuse to learn from anything. And then you've got people maybe further left that can be just as insufferable, no doubt.
Oh yeah,
But
just
I feel
just
like,
as
and
ignorant.
again, maybe I'm just seeing this through my perspective, but it feels like maybe they'd be a little bit more prone to be like, well, maybe we should think about this again, or maybe we should try to look at this from someone else's
Maybe we
point of
didn't
view.
approach it the right way the first time.
Right. And I feel like if everyone would just do that, we'd be in a much better spot. But we're so it's so divisive that even something like, hey, the climate's collapsing, there's animals are fleeing where they normally live because they know that a cold snap's coming to a place that's never been cold, and hurricanes are getting bigger, and floods are getting worse, and wildfires are getting worse, and every scientist in the world says this is just the beginning. It's going to get incrementally worse, and sometimes exponentially worse every year. And there's nothing we can do about it other than stopping everything that we're doing that's contributing to it. And you've got this entire old entrenched power base that, because of the money they make from this system, refuses to do anything to upset the apple cart.
It's like, well, I'll be dead when the problem actually happens.
Exactly.
That's
and
exactly
at this
the
rate, they're
mindset.
going to be dead because of the problem.
Yeah,
and
for
it's
real.
also like, how much money do you need?
Yeah.
I mean, none of us make a ton of money. Like, we get by.
Yeah.
And
I've got about $12 in my bank account right now.
yeah, I'm probably looking pretty close to that. But you pay your bills, you get by, and
Totally.
And like I'm used to being broke. Yes, of course I would like to make more money, but at the same time, it's like I don't need $9 billion. No.
I just want enough to get by, to put food on the table, and just to maybe buy some video games.
Yeah, to, like have it like to go on vacation
every year or two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like
Health insurance would be nice, but that's
I would
And
like
it's
to.
disgusting
plus.
that's like a luxury at this point.
it is.
Oh, it's insane, because I have family in Canada, and I was talking to my brother-in-law. I think one of the times I was up there, and I was like, "So, how do you feel about your healthcare system?" He was like, "What about it?"
It's great. Why would
It's like there's no problem. You just show your healthcare card, and you get what you need to get done, and then you go home.
Yeah, like it should be.
There's no copay. There's no,
Whereas here in the U.S., you're stressing out about healthcare so much that you actually need it because you're causing all these issues.
Well, then, like, even if you can't afford insurance, it was like, well, my insurance is too expensive that I can't afford to actually use my insurance.
Right.
And
I ran into the same problem this past year.
Yeah,
Like, I'm like buried in medical bills right now for just getting a checkup, and now I have all these dental problems I got to get taken care of that I can't afford.
We're in the same boat. It was like, oh, you can get 2 free cleanings, but anything else, you need to spend $10,000 out of pocket before it actually kicks. It was like, well, then what's the point of having insurance? Like, it's madness for a country that has this much money and this much potential. The fact that we constantly fuck over our citizens.
And
you would think
that's the thing too. Is like not only is it there's resistance to it, it's like the very idea of it repulses some people. And for the life of me, I can't, unless it's just that they're so fucking dumb that they buy into this nonsense that it's like it's gonna ruin it. All your doctors are gonna flee the country. Everything's gonna be horrible. Well, because if you go to any country, not any country, but any well-developed country that has
correct.
Oh, Farley. any
I miss
well-developed
that guy so much.
first world country that has universal health
Yeah, look at Scandinavia.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's never a
There's
problem.
plenty of examples where it works.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's more examples where it does than when it doesn't. And the only problem I have
But
with
what
the
about
United States
Venezuela?
doing it, well, look at Venezuela. Everything.
Yeah, it's
everything.
like that's corruption.
Their water is poison. So they've become Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
The only problem I would have is I don't think I trust the United States government at this point to launch a healthcare system because they've proven at every single fucking level that not only are they corrupt, but more importantly, in many cases, they're inept.
Flint, Michigan.
Shit, dude, you could point to you could just blindly point to any state in the country, and I guarantee you, part of your finger,
crumbling highways.
Look at what is happening in Florida with our waterways.
Yeah,
man.
All the toxic algae from Big Sugar dumping,
that
toxic
red
waste.
tide shit. And,
and it's just like
fleshing bacteria.
Yeah, well, it's just like, if you look at the paper trail. Oh, Rick Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, he.
That dude has fucked this state harder than Hurricane Andrew. I mean, it's and yet he got elected to Senate because people are so goddamn stupid.
Yeah,
they don't. I think the most infuriating thing about the current political climate is not so much the mudslinging and the childish actions. Like they're supposed to be our leaders.
Yeah,
and they act like the fucking Kardashians, and it's embarrassing.
It's insane how the three of us can have an adult conversation, even if we fundamentally agree on different issues.
Yeah.
But it's not coming to the point where it's like, well, he's a liar, he's stupid, you're a fat pig, this and that, and it's just. Like I consider
talk about the issues.
Like I consider myself kind of a moron. But the fact that I can even realize that
the discourse
there's something fundamentally wrong with what's happening here.
There's the political discourse is literally at the level of like children on a playground.
Yeah, they're just like grade school children.
It's like they run up and they tag one of them, someone smack them, and you suck, and then they run away. And they're all, and you notice, like they're all.
Like your dad's a drunk.
Other than a handful, and it's usually the veterans usually, but other than a handful of those guys, generally these are some of the most cowardly, fucking entitled, spoon-fed shitheads, and we're like, it's almost like a old-timey British system or something. We're like, oh well, those are the nobles. So well, he grew up in the Kennedy family, so surely he can govern. Or
back
he
to
grew
the field,
up in the Bush family.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's weird. It's like so anti to what America stood for so long.
Well, what's crazy is they don't even believe the stuff they say. It's so obvious. You know?
A lot of them don't. The ones that are really scary are the ones that do.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Do you mean the Zodiac Killer?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you mean the Zodiac Killer? Old Beardo himself. Have you seen his beard? It literally looks like if you could sketch a pedophile that has. It's so creepy. It's like part of the beard tried to flee, and it just like it couldn't get all the way away. But like patches were like, "Fuck it."
Did you guys remember that creepy fucking ad he made during the campaign where he was like with his daughters and family, and he was like trying to hug them, and there was like.
Yeah, they flinch away from him. Like, oh god, no! It's
a little unnerving.
His touch burns.
Yeah. It's like that alone. I was just like, if your own children don't even enjoy you touching them, then there might be some issues.
The best thing about that spineless piece of shit weasel, Trump insulted this dude's family, insulted his wife's looks. Talk shit about his dad, all this stuff, and then when he lost to him, he turned around and he was like, "I endorse President Trump. Are these blowjobs enough, Trump?" And yet somehow
this country is going straight to hell.
Somehow he still gets elected. It's fucking ridiculous. But
the thing that really
gets
killed
me was that thing with his porn. Do you remember that where like he had a porn search or something, and he accidentally like put it on his Twitter account?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember that? So like on his like official like election Twitter page, he posted like a not just a link, but like the actual video.
How do you do that? How do you
do that on accident? I don't know if I could do that on purpose.
That's pretty inept.
That's also getting back to our main conversation. An epic fail.
Right.
Like how do you even make that mistake? Because that's a multi.
Yeah. Several things had to go wrong.
It's like what's his name? Anthony Weiner kept getting arrested for sending, or not arrested, but in trouble for sending dick pics to people.
It's like, stop sending dick pics.
Yeah, everyone knows who you are.
Curve that
from doing this. If you're gonna do it, don't put your face in it, you fucking idiot.
Yeah,
maybe retire from politics if you're having an issue with this. Because this is only gonna get worse from
here. If you're that much of a horn dog, it's like,
maybe this career isn't for you.
First of all, change your name. Because the fact that a guy named Anthony Weiner kept getting in trouble for sending dick pics is a little on the nose.
The name fits it in so many stories. Basically,
I wonder how many people just call him Tony Dick.
Tony Dick. I never even thought about it. But yeah, that is definitely an epic fail. And we're already at the 20-minute mark. So let's get into the meat of this conversation, because I know we could just go on a marathon, just going through everything that's going on between Russia and North Korea. Just
it's a crazy time to be alive. I wish I had a history book from 20 years from now, just to see how it's all going to turn out. Because I have no clue. Every day I wake up, it's like, are we going to get nuked? Like, what's going to happen here?
See, that's funny that you assume that there's going to be people publishing material.
Right.
Yeah. We all know that the bugs will have taken over by that point. The radioactive wasteland will be set firmly in place.
But that was actually one of my questions. Before we get into the writing process and the blog and how everything started, is if you were to guess what the history books would look like, I don't know, maybe 100 years from now.
Oh man.
What it's kind of,
how will they look back on this time?
Yeah, like you have to speculate, but
I feel like it would almost be like a Dark Ages, the way we look at the period when they were like destroying knowledge and science and art.
Well, it's
prior to the, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had the Roman Enlightenment, and then
there's two
it
ways,
all crumbled.
And there's two ways we can go from where we are now. We can really lean hard into like fixing the environment as best we can, looking at new resources, looking at ways to treat people better, to try to act like the one global community we really are now.
Yeah, like we can't deny it anymore.
Well, we start ignoring border concerns so much and really worry more about like people, like the future
human
of us
rights,
as humanity.
Maybe? Yeah.
And we can go that way, or we can just lean harder into what we're doing, in which case
we're looking isolation,
at Mad Max, hellscape,
complete economic, environmental, social collapse within a matter of decades. It's just not sustainable.
It's especially with the internet. It's crazy that I can go on a site like Facebook or something, or even on my cell phone, and talk to someone from India or Australia, and it doesn't feel like there's like this great divide. And it's like I'm literally typing to this person in real time. That is across the world.
Thousands and thousands
it's
of miles.
pretty amazing. I think part of the problem, though, is that it happened so fast. This happened overnight, and I don't think we were ready for it as a civilization.
Well, and I think what we might be looking at, and I just hope that the problem is we still got like 2 generations to get through the political landscape before we get to the people who grew up with this crap. And I feel like they're the first ones that are really going to
start to make changes.
Have the opportunity to make some like really significant sweeping changes. Problem is we keep waiting for all these shitty, old-timey, stuck in their ways, racist, biggity fucks to die off. And they seem to live to like 98, and everyone keeps this. Well, they've been there for 70 years. They know what they're doing, even though the state's been going on the shitter for 70 years. Let's keep re-electing them strong.
And it's also that ignorant breeds ignorance.
Yeah.
True. So, if one of our parents or both of them were, at least in my case, like very, not in my case, but like in, say both the parents were very hardcore right-leaning and, probably a little on the racist side, and gay people are icky. Like
close-minded, I would say.
If that's
if not outright racist, because they're not all racist. Even the people like the super waspy white people you think of when you think of that. I wouldn't say they're all like inherently racist. Now they may be like. They're ignorant, so they may be like, I'm afraid of black people in groups because they'll rob me and kill me.
Because they may have never met an actual
exactly. It's just that they're
person of ethnicity.
I don't know if they would actively outright act racist. But there's definitely that like in their
that
mind.
underlying tone.
Yes,
like a naive view of other cultures.
Yeah, but there can be a very underlying tone. I don't know if you've ever been around someone and then they say something, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, let's rewind that a bit.
Well, think about where we live.
It happens more than I would like to admit.
Oh, like people I've met, just literally if I met you guys 20 minutes ago, and then they would tell me a racist joke with the N-word, and I was like, I don't know you. Like why would you assume I'm okay with that sort of thing?
That's kind of like the culture that we in the Bible Belt especially, but in Florida and the Southeast in particular, like it's definitely there. Like I can't tell you how many I've been in classrooms where people tell jokes like that, like out loud.
Yeah.
Not really giving a shit about the fact that there are people in the class of color and there are people in the class that aren't, straight white males.
Yeah, it's just like
privileged families or whatever.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
well, we all make mistakes, but I think like at least the three of us, if we were to, say something or assume something, and realize it, we'd, try to be like, oh, yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, I think most rational people,
yeah.
If say you say something that's out of line or you didn't realize it was, and it actually hurt someone, you're like,
yeah,
oh, that makes me feel like a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a lot of Americans today that don't feel that
lack
way.
the empathy.
Yeah, they just they have this other complex, where they don't.
I honestly, and I don't know,
see other people.
I feel like it's probably one of those things where we all try to like. This is a social condition. It's a social behavioral condition. It's got to be attributed to something that's changed because people weren't always like this. And you think back and you go like, I think kind of they were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I really feel like people have always been pretty shitty. And
different people from different eras have kind of focused in on different things, though. It wasn't always like skin color necessarily,
Exactly. Well, I would say that's always been a thing.
Well, yeah.
Always.
Well, you're different than I am. For
I mean,
it's
Y,
the thing of
Z.
the other, whether it's skin color, and if it wasn't skin color, they'd create something else.
Right. Yeah.
That, they create religion. They create
caste systems.
Class systems.
Yeah, class.
There's got to be, because humans are, fight the knowledge all you want to, but we're a bunch of apes that
we're savage. We're savages.
Some hair, and we like to pretend that we're not. But at our core,
so part
we're
of the problem,
animals.
Yeah, part of the problem is that we're so intelligent. Let me rephrase that. We're intelligent enough
Let's not get carried away here.
that we have this ability to categorize things, and because of that, one of the side effects is sometimes we'll apply that to other people and social situations and things like that. And I think that that's sort of one of the bad consequences of the way our minds work.
Even
a bad side effect, I guess.
Even my friend who is Japanese, she talks shit about other Asians, and it's just like,
it's a cultural thing.
Like, she's Vietnamese. I'm like, ugh. I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's the thing. As Americans, we think like that. Like we're all Asian. But to them, like it's a huge. I mean,
but I mean, they're both in America. You know,
yeah.
I can understand. If you're living in Japan, you go to Vietnam, you're like.
But there's a lot of Japanese people and people of Japanese descent like don't like Chinese people.
Oh well, I mean they have
Laotians.
They have sort
a
of
huge
historical
conflict.
reasons.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying. But
generations back.
But
like,
a lot of Americans are
major...
like, well, it's all the ching chong. It's like that same, like the ignorant. Like, well, it's all the same. Y'all look the same. Why
no, but that's getting back to the point of if you grow up with something like that, how it can be so easily like it's just embedded into your mind, and that's just the way it is.
Definitely.
And you would hope that the internet would be the thing that,
and for
people realize, hey, we're all the same. And there is a lot of that, but there's also so much of the like, my ignorance is out front and proud, bitch. And there's a lot of that too.
Well, it's sort of a reaction to all the very quick social changes we've had over the last 20 years.
Yeah,
like we've come a long way, and so of course there's going to be backlash.
Yeah, so
there's people that are going to be putting their foot down about it.
Yeah, so do you think with
stubbornness?
I hate to use the term social justice warrior because I feel like that's just such a talking point.
And I feel like it's dismissive.
Yeah.
I think some of those people are obnoxious as hell.
Yeah.
yes,
There's
of
some
course.
people that
But
take it
it's
a little too
dismissive
far. I
because a
think,
lot of
but-
those people are actually fighting for like a legitimate
True.
cause. You know, they have a grievance. They have someone's being treated unfairly or something like that.
or it's just like it hurts us when you use this word, so just don't do it. And
I will say that the idiots that decide in Jacksonville, at least, that the way to protest is to sit in the middle of the fucking street.
That is not. Yeah.
You're an asshole because now you're not affecting any change. All you're doing is ruining everybody's morning commute.
that, and you're putting people in danger.
Yeah,
because
that's ridiculous.
I mean, if you're lying down on a highway and you're going 65 miles an hour, I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
if I run through a crowd of morons, am I liable now because they were standing in the middle of I-95?
Yeah.
Or is it like, hey, I'm going to sue your estates for the damage to my car? You know?
Yeah, it's like I'm all for protests, but don't do it in a way that is going to affect innocent people.
Yeah.
Who are just trying to get to and from work, just trying to do the right thing,
Live their lives.
Yeah,
yeah. And that's just people.
Well, it's like at Starbucks. I was working there a few months back, and
making the big bucks, right?
Yeah, right. But you know, people would. I've heard from other baristas and stuff. Sometimes people would have someone write like not their name on the cup, but like a statement, like a political statement of some kind or another. And it's just, I think that's inappropriate. I think that's the wrong place. Like, because you're.
And what's the point of it?
Because someone would write, as an example, like Black Lives Matter as their name. So someone has to shout Black Lives Matter, you know, like even if you believe
that effect?
That could cause issues, you know, like someone's just trying to get through their day. You know, like,
it's just like,
now you're putting that employee in
like, I just want to like a venti pike. Like, I don't need your political rhetoric
or like make America great again, that kind of thing. You know? Like, that's another example.
Just like
right, just don't bring that to. You know.
It's like I need a coffee for MAGA.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just
there's a time and a place.
Yeah, it's the way you go about it is the important thing, and you know, like I'll wear like some goofy anti-Trump shirts.
Yeah,
but you know, it's just like it's not like I am working somewhere and then I force it on you. It's like, well, if you see me just walking down the street wearing it, you could be like, all right, fuck that guy, or you could be like, oh, that's an awesome shirt. Yeah. And then you go about your day. It's not really doing anything. But, like, I don't know. If you're totally just forcing it, like, if, like, I ordered pizza and it was like, Trump is the next Fuhrer as the name. And it's just like what?
Really?
What? Like,
Why? Why?
Yeah.
You're just ordering a pizza, dude. Just put your name on it and let them deliver your pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People
make pizza great again.
Yeah. Keep politics out of pizza.
Yeah, it's a
Vote
weird
for me.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and I can imagine because both of you guys have had a lot more customer service jobs. Than
I've had a few. I've actually had like 3.
In a while, but yeah,
I've had 3 different day jobs in the past year.
Yeah. So you know, because I work in the back of the house of a kitchen, so I just deal with my coworkers. And for the most part, we're all on the same page when it comes to all this stuff. I'm sure there's a few people, but it never gets to the point where it's screaming and name calling, and that just if someone says something like whoa, I was like, all right, I don't think I'm gonna engage in this anymore, sort of thing. But I can imagine because even going to the gas station and getting a pack of cigarettes or some beer, people love to tell you their political views, and so I can only imagine. And it's like between Blockbuster, Starbucks, and other,
so many
it's
stories.
just like did you hear what the Jews did? And you're like, whoa, what? Like, what is going?
There's definitely a backlog of stories there.
Yeah, it was just like I was just trying to give you your change.
Yeah. Here's
like,
your receipt, sir.
No.
It's like,
let me tell you something incredibly racist.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
It's like
Just take your receipt.
And you just kind of have to smile through it and just kind of like get them out the
You're
door.
like,
DVD copy of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Yeah, and it's just like, do you laugh at Schindler's List? Why are you writing this?
You laugh at Schindler's. This isn't porn because I treat it as such.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But okay, of course we always go on our tangents, but let's get to the meat of the conversation. before we get to the 3-hour mark. So let's start with the blog, because that's where this all started.
So I think it all started back in 2012. I just started a history blog. This was after Chris.
Web address.
Was it?
Give him the web address.
So it's epicfails.com, EPIK fails.com. It all started actually after Chris introduced me into blogging with some of the comic book stuff he was doing.
I think the one I was doing at the time was the movie one, wasn't it?
I think it might have been. Yeah.
Oh, so you were doing a blog?
I had a
as
blog
well?
back in the day that I was using that I stopped doing after a while. It was like Aim for the Head.
Was it
And
through
it was,
Yahoo?
it was like a movie blog.
Yeah,
It was
that's
like
right. That's right.
Like a
Did like a top 100
a
list.
top 100 list kind of thing. And each entry had a couple paragraphs to like a page worth of material. And
Can you pull that mic up a little closer?
yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So each entry had like a couple paragraphs to a page or so of material, and I think at one point or another I had Erik look at it and be like, "What do you think? Does this look cool? Do I need to change the format? That kind of stuff." And probably pretty soon thereafter that you started yours, right?
Yeah. So after that, I kind of had a taste for it. I was like, I'll give this a try, and I never really thought it would go anywhere, honestly. But yeah, it was. I was taking a history class at the time, and I was just like getting my mind blown every other day, like about stuff I just didn't know. I was like, oh man, I really need to dig into this stuff more, Yeah. So a lot of the early articles I would do would be on things I didn't know anything about, and I just thought they'd be interesting. So I was like, here, check this out. This is crazy, right? Like the 30 Years War. Like I'd never heard of that. A lot of, the Epic of Gilgamesh, like I knew a little bit about it, but, I really wanted to delve in and tell some of these crazy stories.
Yeah, when you dive in, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah. So
you learned too that a lot of it happened a lot more recently than you thought.
Like, when you really put things in perspective, like that was just yesterday. So it's weird. But yeah, I kind of wanted to take a look at history from the loser's perspective, because a lot of times history is told by the winners, and I feel like we all make mistakes and we're supposed to learn from those mistakes. So we probably learn more from all the failures.
Yeah,
of
so
history,
like it's not just
things that
like
didn't work
it's
out.
like they were wrong, we won.
Yeah.
It's
more of like what not to do, and that's how it started. And kind of from there, eventually, we started the podcast not too long ago. I got in touch with Ben Thompson about doing a book.
Yeah, I was actually curious. How did you guys get together?
It's a little it's kind of a complicated story. So originally I reached out to him just because I wanted some advice on the website.
And that's our show. No.
So yeah, I reached out to him for some advice on the website pretty early on, and I was surprised he got back to me, because he had already published a few books at the time, and he's like, yeah, I like what you're doing. You got some good stuff there, and gave me some advice and stuff on how to do it. And then eventually I thought about maybe putting a book together. And it was sort of like an anthology of different crazy things I had written about as one, volume.
Yeah, kind of a compilation.
Yeah. That was the original concept. And I ran it by him, and I put a pitch together, and he really liked it. And he sort of gave me some advice on like how to go about, reaching out to different agents and stuff to get representation and maybe get this thing published. So
at that point, we're just kind of throwing darts in the dark, like hoping something would stick.
I actually reworked it a few times over the years, because I had been trying to get published for a little while, and I knew it was kind of a long shot, but I was like, why not? Something about it, I felt like there might have been something there. And so so the last time I went and revised it, I had a really good feeling about it. I sent it out, and like a couple days later, Ben calls me up and is like, I just got this call from I think it was his editor at the time, and they had this idea that they wanted me to do Epic Fails of History. And he's like, well, I kind of know the guy that's already working on this, so let me put you in touch with him.
No kidding.
Yeah, this was after I had already sent out my proposal, so it's kind of weird how it worked out.
Yeah,
and he obviously he was awesome enough to not steal the idea, I guess, and run with it, because he totally could have, and I couldn't have done anything about it, and whatever. I wouldn't have blamed him.
I mean, I'm assuming at this point he probably had
Well, so
representation. And
yeah.
he was
I
already-
should probably point out that prior to this, he wrote a series of books called Badass, and
They're
he wrote,
great too.
They're really funny. I was actually a fan of his.
And well, where can people find his work?
Bookstores, Amazon, everywhere. You know,
Ben Thompson.
his name is Ben Thompson.
Okay, yeah, because I've been meaning to check his work out.
Yeah,
He wrote
his book. The Badass books are really funny because he'll pick someone you've probably never heard of.
Yeah.
And tell you the crazy shit they did.
Yeah.
And then he'll have like an analysis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. His style's
and
really.
the analysis is where the jokes really come in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's really
So
funny.
it's still kind of in the it's based in fact, but it
Yeah. Sort of
with comedy involved to just make it so
more entertaining. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
or
there's
just
a
so
lot of
the
personality in it.
yeah,
which I
so
guess,
the average person can like actually consume it.
Yeah.
right.
because-
and then Eric writes like that too. So when the two of them write together, it's actually really funny. They
It's weird how our styles kind of ended up merging, like because they're sort of a similar tone. You know,
really,
like-
but when you read the books, you really can't really tell which one wrote what.
Yeah, it's all it's
It's
all
one
one
voice.
cohesive
Yeah.
piece, which I think that's so great.
Yeah.
Especially with doing anything creative, because obviously you and I have worked on some projects, and
Yeah, definitely, man.
it can go south real quick.
True. There's so
You
many
know.
factors and variables.
Yeah, and
you know?
it's
Stuff
just
that's really out of your control too, which is always the frustrating thing. Like you
Yeah.
want this to happen, and like you just can't. Schedules don't line up. People's personal lives get in the way.
I think it's worth
Yeah.
pointing out that a few years ago, Devin and I actually tried to put together a mini series for YouTube.
We
just
wrote
for
a lot of
fun,
scripts,
and
too.
we wrote like the actual scripts. We were starting to cast the thing,
Yeah.
and then like I guess our lives just got crazy. Like that's right around the time I got the book deal, and then I got divorced not long after that. So like it was one thing after another.
Yeah. It's
so I
just
was
all
like,
those crazy life
Yeah.
things that come up that you never know. And then sometimes, I don't know about you, but like I kind of ran out of juice. Like I just didn't have any ideas, and
Sure.
I would just be staring at the cursor blinking at me, and I was like, I don't know how to advance the story.
Yeah.
You know, so you can kind of get a little brain dead, a little burnt out.
And
I really did enjoy working on those scripts though. They were pretty fun,
They're
yeah.
so great. I mean, I have them, and I still think they're awesome.
One of
and-
these days we'll have to do something
Yes,
with that.
yes, that is one of my life goals is to actually at least do a pilot.
We'll be like 60, like playing ourselves at 20.
Yeah, and none of the characters will like. It won't make any sense because we're
We'll
so
be so
old.
The
outdated.
references are 40 years out of date. Hand me my pager.
It's like Clerks, you know.
But so okay, so you meet with Ben.
Right. Yeah, sorry, I got a little off topic there.
Oh, that's what the show is. The show should
It's
be
just
called.
one long tangent.
The show should be called Tangent Radio.
Yeah,
'cause,
it really is.
That's what we do.
So yeah, Ben and I, he wanted to know if I was interested in maybe collaborating on the project. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so we threw together a pitch together. Like we didn't have long because they wanted something like overnight.
Can I ask how a pitch goes?
Well, it's sort of it's a proposal, I should say. Just kind of like an
Couple
outline.
pages.
Yeah,
okay.
sort of
Pages,
to prove that we could actually do the work and turn it in
Yeah,
on time.
generally, they'd have like an overlying pitch. Like, here's what we want to talk about.
Yep.
Here's kind of the tone we're looking for, and then maybe like a sample chapter. Or two.
Yep.
Like, here's
Okay.
here's
Yeah.
what it would look like.
Our sample chapter was actually on Columbus, and it was based on one of my early articles, actually, and that ending up in one of the books. That's a chapter in the Age of Exploration and Totally Getting Lost, which is the fourth book in the series.
Okay, I can't wait to get my hands on.
There's some
hands
good
on
stuff in
this.
there. Ben and I both think it's the best book in the series so far. We had a lot of fun writing
Okay,
that one.
and
It's not out yet, right?
That one comes out in April, actually. Yeah. That one's there's
So the
some good
first
stuff
two
in there.
were really great. They were the Wright brothers and like the history.
the
Yeah,
space
the
race.
the history.
Space race. And the
Yeah.
space race
Yeah.
is like I love that book. So
Yeah,
much.
I love both those.
There's
topics.
a lot of fun writing.
Yeah, I love both those
Researching.
topics, and I thought they were just so perfectly executed, especially with the illustrations.
And that's the
man.
thing I like about it
appreciate
too
that.
is that they're obviously they're aimed at I'd say maybe 12-ish.
Yeah, it's 8 and up,
and younger and
middle
older.
school.
Like, it's
But I was
basically-
fascinated.
I
as
was
a
too,
30-year-old
and that's the thing.
man.
As a full grown ass man, I was reading it like, that's funny, and like, holy crap, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was
And-
hoping to do. Is
Yeah,
like
it's really good.
make it entertaining for myself,
Yeah.
but also like make it appropriate and like kind of like
So you
just-
can have a broad audience, so-
Exactly.
So anyone can approach it, and
Yeah.
it's not like,
Not like
on this day of this and that, and
I think it serves different purposes too, because on the what, like for instance, the Wright brothers one in particular is really has like an underlying message of like, do not give up if you have something you believe in.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
give up.
yeah,
And when you
definitely.
go teach that to a bunch of 10, 12-year-olds or whatever, like that,
yeah, it's like look what you can achieve.
these guys, everyone laughed at these idiots, and they laughed at themselves.
They didn't think it was
sometimes. They almost
possible.
quit, and
Like,
they-
no
now-
one- yeah.
Now everybody flies because of them.
Yeah, I thought it was a really important message.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I like, honestly, I guess subconsciously, I kind of got the message, but I didn't really think about it that way until you brought it up. That scared the shit out of me. But yeah, I think these books are a really great way to, especially if you have kids, to like, they're fun, they're interactive.
They're very entertaining, and I
Yeah.
don't have any stake in them other than my buddy wrote them. I mean, I don't get anything from.
No, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass.
They're really
I'm
good.
saying they're legitly, they're
Thanks, man.
awesome.
That
And
makes,
They're
I
that means a
definitely
lot
the
to
kind
me.
of books that I would have been like all over. Remember the book fair when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, that's
Or
where
the bookmobile?
you'd get like
Scholastic
the,
books.
The
and all
little
that,
form
yeah.
would come in. You'd be like, "Sweet!"
Yeah.
and then you'd
Sweet.
fill out all this stuff, and your parents are like, "You can get 2 of them,
Yeah, yeah.
not 20 of them."
That reminds me, I really need to get my hands on one of those if my books end up in there.
That'd be
I just
cool.
want
Yeah,
one of those
get framed.
catalogs and put. Yeah, exactly. That
That'd
would
be
mean a
just
awesome.
lot.
just frame it on the
I was
wall.
a
Yeah,
fucking bookmobile bitch. Like,
Right? Yeah, man.
life accomplished.
So yeah, it's been pretty surreal. It's been an interesting couple years.
yeah. So okay, so you put together the pitch.
Yeah.
And so, how long was it before everything was actually like, oh, this is actually
The
going to happen?
contract and everything happened within a month. It was super
Okay.
fast. Yeah, they wanted to
Okay.
fast track this. I don't know why, but it was neck break speed. Like even Ben hadn't experienced anything quite like this.
Was he
So-
just like, whoa?
Yeah, yeah. But luckily there was 2 of us, so like the workload
Yeah.
wasn't quite as bad. But yeah, they wanted a list of like 20 different possible topics, and that's what we gave them. And then a few things changed along the ways. Originally, the first book was How Not to Discover America, and that book completely changed title, theme, and then we had to rewrite half of it because they wanted to cover like more global exploration, which is actually what we wanted to do originally, but our editor was like, no, let's focus on America. Let's do, I don't know, Columbus through Lewis and Clark. And we were like, all right, we'll make that work. Yeah, it's kind of broad, but
Yeah,
plenty of
and,
stuff
you know,
there. And then
there's more than enough there.
we
Yeah.
wrote that entire book, and then we had to cut half of it out. We deleted half the chapters and had to completely start over.
So do you think anything
it was
that
kind of
you,
interesting, but
anything that you deleted might come up in later
so
installations?
I've actually been considering using some of those deleted chapters as like articles on the site at some point.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so you're still also doing the site, or
occasionally I've kind of shifted gears more to the podcast for it. I used to
Well, I was curious because you were doing the blog and apparently occasionally still doing, but
Yeah.
I was wondering if you're saving that writing for further books, or like you
No,
don't want to waste what you're writing.
yeah, totally.
that could be published.
I mean, I stayed pretty busy on those books because the first 2 we only had like 2.5 months to turn them in, I think, for those first drafts.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. But I couldn't pass up the opportunity, obviously. So yeah, it was a lot of research up front, and we turned in the drafts, and then our editor completely went radio silence on us for like 3 months. We were like, do we still have a book deal? What's going on, man?
I
Like
think-
Ben
I
was
think you even-
flabbergasted.
yeah, I think
we were like,
you even
did he
told me about
die?
that.
Like, it was weird. It was really weird.
And
But
then,
we,
you don't want to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
every,
yeah.
Every hour.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's
like-
what you want to do, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
You
You're
gotta
like,
just be like,
sup, dude?
how long do we wait before we go like?
even
freak
our
out on this
agent,
guy? Like,
we have the same agent, and he was like, I don't know, man. Like he was like throwing up his hands. So it was not, I didn't feel great.
It's
about
just
it.
kind of just like.
Yeah, he wasn't super confident about
It's just like, this is kind of the business.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
These things happen.
You never know. Like,
because you can get signed to a project and then at the last minute it just totally collapses, and then you're like,
a million things can happen.
Yeah.
Luckily, that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we got a new editor, and they were like, "We want this, this, and this by these
Mm-hmm.
dates," and we're like, "Done." Like we were just glad to have direction. We just wanted to, work. And we did like 4 or 5 drafts on each book. The editing actually took a lot longer.
What you should do is you should save all the things that you wrote that suck.
Oh yeah, I
and
do.
Then make a book about the failures that you had writing a book about failures.
One day I would like to
the
write
epic
a
fails
whole
of
book.
epic fails.
Yeah,
there's so many crazy stories that happen behind the scenes.
And we've been
with
trying to
this.
do that on the podcast. We record because we generally what we'll do is we'll record more than what we need.
Yeah,
and we'll cut it down.
We
A lot of times we'll have
okay.
a guest, and they again, a lot of times they haven't ever been on a podcast before, so they'll interrupt with questions. They'll pause. They'll I don't know what to say here. That kind of stuff. So we'll go, okay, we'll walk through a little bit, and we'll go cut all that dead air out.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we end up with like twice the recording of what we have, and a lot of that is really funny.
Yeah, we got some good blooper material for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be great.
What was the city?
Like
You
a
kept mispronouncing.
Oh, see, I mess up all the time. That's the funniest thing.
No, but there was this one city that like it shouldn't be. It's
no,
so
it
easy.
was a Zeppelin, the Akron.
No. Yeah, but it's okay. So it's named after Akron, like
No, it's
Akron,
Akron.
Ohio. No, it's Akron. And he kept saying Akron, and we were
this
dying.
went on for
And
like 12 minutes.
Yeah, and it was so funny because we'd be like, "No, dude, it's Akron." He's like, "Oh, my bad. Let me record it again." The Akron, like, "No, god damn it, it's Akron." Oh,
I
my
just
bad.
get really stuck on
The
like,
Akron.
simple things, like I'm kind of an idiot.
well.
And it was really funny. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all say that we're morons. Obviously, we're not doing quantum physics or anything, but the fact that you can realize it was like, yeah, I'm kind of a dummy.
Yeah.
But
I really stumbled into this. I feel lucky and I'm thankful for
because I still
opportunity.
have the first time you were on my show. That was
This was
I
how
don't-
long ago?
It was a couple years
2013.
ago, yeah.
that's the same place that you and Whitney Davis were on.
Yeah. Like a
so
couple weeks later, a month later, or something like that.
yeah, so that was 4 years ago.
Good times, man.
Something like
It was
that.
like the episode was called like the Summer of 4'2" or something. Like
Or I think it was called 4 Foot Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
And which is it's always funny when I do a podcast and
Hi, Whitney, if you're listening.
and hello Whitney. But it's always funny when I have someone on the podcast, like because you were scheduled, and then Whitney was there, and I was like, just put the headphones on, like it's like you're gonna want to say something, and people will be like, no, I'll just watch it. I was like, no, you're gonna want to say something, just. It's a conversation.
Funny how people light up sometimes when you get a microphone in front of them.
Well, because I've had people that they thought I was going to attack them or like be aggressive towards them, like depending on the topic.
Like they're on like a shock jock radio.
Yeah,
show or
it was just
something,
like
or
no, I wouldn't
like
invite.
ambush journalism.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't invite you into my house to spend 2.5 hours just to like berate you.
I do understand the nervousness to an extent because like you kind of worry about what you're going to say because it's
Yeah,
being
most
recorded
people aren't
sometimes.
used to doing
if you're
this
not
sort of
used
thing.
to it, yeah.
And pretty much, I mean, if you isolate some of the episodes, I've said some horrific things, and you can take them way out of context.
Yeah.
But, given the context of everything, I was like, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm totally cool. I mean, I'm not running for mayor or anything, but yes, most people aren't used to sitting in front of microphones recording, even though we're just having a conversation. There's still a bit of a format in there.
Yeah.
But
It's funny trying to find when you start doing your own, like figure out kind of what you want that to be.
Yeah.
Because if at first you're all over the place, like
for those that don't know, Chris has his own podcast, Comic Zombie.
Yeah, it's comiczombie.net or Comic Zombie. What's the
Comic
I don't
Zombie
even- Wordbean
Podbean.com, I
Wordbean.
believe.
comiczombie.podbean.com.
Okay.
It's me and Erik.
Yeah.
And it's so just talk about like nerdy shit. Like our first episode is about the Batman movies, the Keaton ones and the Kilmer Clooney one.
Well, there's a lot of material.
Oh
yeah,
dude, we had to cut so much shit.
We recorded for like 3 hours. It was nuts.
To get just talking about the first 2 movies. We could have gone on for like 7 hours.
It's so
longer than the runtime of any one of those movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you guys are recording these podcasts, so you guys basically just record, because mine is basically we just talk and then I'll polish up the sound a little bit and maybe cut out something.
The editing for us is just we get rid of like the
pauses, the awkward,
or like that we sit down like, why don't you just talk about that one thing and you do that,
okay,
because it's so loose. There's literally like no structure to it.
Yeah, we
other
did
than,
just like
we
the
do want to talk
muttering
about this
between
and we
each
want
other.
to talk about this, but like exactly. So like the well, why don't we talk about this right here and then we can cut back in. Like we'll cut that out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we
that kind of
and then
stuff.
so and every now and then I'll go, and it's usually me. I'll be like, hey, let me talk about this one thing, and I end up going on like a fucking 10-minute diatribe.
That's what makes the show work, though.
Right,
Both shows, really.
Which was great in some cases, but like the last episode we recorded was like the 2 of us, my wife and his girlfriend, and you can't do that when there's 4 people in the room. You can't be like, everyone shut up and listen to me for 10 minutes while I complain about this movie. So you got to kind of figure out where you want to cut yourself off and everything.
And there also is, you have to be careful about how many people you have, and because
I think 4 is the most we'll do. And 4 is pushing it. But it was
because some people, they feel like they can't, like they don't want to interrupt, and then some people talk over people.
Chris is raising his hand.
And some people talk over. No.
Sucker man.
But yeah, it's a very fine line of like trying to figure out the format and what works, and especially if you have guests that you don't really know, you never know what you're going to get out of it.
Sure.
Because I've had a lot of people, when they knock on my door, that's the first time I've ever met them. Like comedians, and or I've done like Skype interviews. Like I've only talked to this person through like
Facebook, email, or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, with Eric, we had Jasmine was on for the Florida episode of the Epik Fails podcast, and I literally probably exchanged 2 Facebook messages with her in our like group chat or whatever, and then it was like, all right, we're doing an episode. And
let's see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
We hit off great, I think.
Yeah,
and
she's awesome.
I would say 99.9% of the time it goes well.
Yeah.
As long as people know what your intentions are. For that, it does get a little dodgy when it comes to humor, because you never know.
Totally.
Because I can have, like you guys, I could probably say the most filthy thing ever, and you guys would laugh. But some people are like, "You're an animal." So it's kind of curious, and I've also had people, like this one guy, he's from Sweden. So some of the references I made didn't land, and he's just like, "What?" and I was just like,
"Great though."
I kept it all in, because mine's just like a long free flow of conversation, and I think some of the awkward moments are
what makes it so funny.
Yeah, and yeah, but it's just I don't know. I think I made like a reference to some movie that. Probably from the 80s that, this 19...
Never made it over there.
Like this 20-year-old like electronic music producer from Sweden is like, no, I don't know what that movie is.
You never seen Camp Nowhere? What the fuck, bro?
Okay, so I guess let's wrap up because we're about the hour mark. So I guess real quick.
Sure.
So how did you guys start podcasting together?
That's a good question.
It was actually, I think it was because of us doing your show.
Yeah.
We both really enjoyed ourselves, and like our schedules are so crazy, and everybody's schedules like never fucking match up, that it became like, I don't remember which one of us said it first. It might have been me.
Yeah, I think so.
Said like, I really want to do my own. And it was a mixture of yours, and I really like the stuff Kevin Smith does on his
the Smodcast
network. Yeah. I like a lot of those. And I do listen to other people like Mark Maron and Joe Rogan, but I was never like inspired by anything they did. But ooh, I should do that.
Yeah.
But I had the idea, like, I think I'd like to see
It's like,
if I
I'm
could
not
do
going to
that.
talk to Kevin Spacey. Like,
Yeah. It was more like, I wonder if I could, if I could make that happen, like if I could do that. And then, I think it was more Eric got off the ground first. He had the equipment and everything, and he just decided, I'm going to fucking do this. And
yeah,
because Eric, I'm the king of like, wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
And Eric's the king of like, I'm just going to fucking do it.
Yeah, like Space Sharks.
Yeah, we had the
that was
story, but
well,
that was really funny.
real quick, but that was a conversation you and I had. It was just like, oh, this would have been funny.
It was
like,
literally like I
this-
was on my break
this really
at work,
dumb
and
idea.
I was bored, and I was like, I'm just gonna call Erik and see what he's up to. And we started bullshitting. I don't remember what it set it off. I think you were watching some shitty movie or something.
Yeah. I wish I had that conversation recorded. Because
Definitely. We
it
probably
was the
left
funniest
10
shit.
episodes on the floor for it.
Is
but
Space Sharks the one where I did the voiceover
yes,
for?
Yeah,
You did
so
the
we were
narration,
talking about how
I
like
roped
each
you into
Jaws got progressively more ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's probably good when they stopped with Jaws 4 because they kept going with like Jaws 10,
I
sharks
honestly-
in space.
I-
And then it became a conversation of what would that be?
Yeah. Like how would that work?
Like the whole trailer he
How would that
made
work, though?
basically came from that conversation.
Yeah. So I made that a whole class project like that next semester. Yeah.
It was like in space. No one can hear you scream, shark!
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so
I
proud of
remember,
that.
Eric, you sent me the script because you're like,
Yeah.
and it's like, could you do a voiceover? And I was like, oh, I'd love to do a voiceover.
What the fuck is this?
And then, well, I read it and I was like, I love it.
Yeah, it's
I
he
love
fell
it.
in love with it.
I actually I did the recording of the guy who's on the radio with NASA. They're eating my legs and all that shit.
Yeah.
I did that recording.
I totally
on
forgot about
on
that.
my girlfriend's at the time, my wife now, but on my girlfriend at the time at her house on the back porch. And I'm on the phone, and there's neighbors everywhere. It's on like the west side of Jacksonville, so you don't have like
I didn't know this.
it's like decent sized backyards, but it's open. There's not trees everywhere.
Are you just using like a phone, like
I'm on my cell phone.
voice recorder?
No, I'm on my cell phone talking to Erik, and he's got me.
Oh.
I don't know if it was. He was recording the call somehow.
I was, yeah.
And so I'm like, literally, I have to yell because I can't be like, the shark is eating my leg. Ow. That's
Oh,
bullshit.
no.
So I kind
You
of hold
wanted
the
it
phone
to
away from my
sound-
face a little
yeah.
bit, and I'm like belting this shit out. Like, it's got my leg. Fuck. And all this
It's
stuff.
still the best performance I've ever witnessed.
And as soon as I got off the phone, I look around and realized that not only are my next door neighbors or her next door neighbors just openly staring at me like, what the fuck? But the lady who's the back of her house juts up against the back of theirs is got the blinds split open. And she's got her moo-moo on. She's staring out the window to see with her chihuahuas. See what's going
It's like,
on.
what is going on
And
here?
then the crackhead who lives a few houses down, I see him poking around the corner. And I just think, like, what are y'all looking at? And then I kind of clicked, like, what I just been doing. It's like, oh. Now I'm the weird guy.
And what's crazy about
be nice.
I know exactly what that's from. That's from the Simpsons at the steel mill.
Exactly.
We work hard. We
play hard.
See, I gotta hand it to you,
You're all
Devin.
freaks.
I gotta hand it to you, Devin. You were really the one that kind of inspired me to get into podcasts. In the
I
first
just have
place.
to do this.
We work hard. We play hard.
There's a spark in your hair. Oh, get it.
Sorry, just because it brought up.
It's one of my favorite Simpsons jokes of all time. And there's, as anyone who's ever spent 10 minutes in a room with me can tell you, there's a lot of Simpsons jokes that I like.
But,
Oh yeah,
what
so
were you saying?
you're
Sorry to
good,
interrupt
you're
you.
good. No. I gotta hand it to you, Devin. Thank you so much for inspiring me to get into podcasts in the first place.
Oh, shucks.
Like I've kind of become obsessed since then. You know,
It's really fun.
podcasts
It's
all the time.
It seems daunting at first, but then once you like,
Literally, once you get one episode done, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
shit. No.
it's one of those things like, who cares if no one likes it?
Yeah, well, especially
exactly.
too because for us, it's I'm I guess you could call it co-host, but I like to call it annoying guest star. On Erik's
Recurring
show.
guest.
And Erik is the co-host of my show. So there's a bit of ownership both ways. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
Erik's show is Erik's show. It's based off his research, it's his materials, his books. I'm not trying to claim any ownership of it whatsoever. But I think he has a pretty fair amount of ownership in mine. Because he does, at minimum, half the work, if not more than that, just because I haven't had the technology until just now.
Yeah, well,
To
I
do a
mean,
lot of the stuff that
you
he's
both
been
are
able to
working
do.
partners in this. And
Yeah, definitely.
I couldn't imagine doing a podcast like Bill Burr when he just talks to himself for an hour. I couldn't do that. Like I need you guys to feed off of.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
he's the next level. I really think he's, but he would probably make fun of me for an hour for saying it, but I think he's a fucking genius.
No, I
do.
believe it too.
I think
yeah.
the guy's like next level smart, but he just doesn't. It's just in a different way. Like he's maybe not book smart or whatever, how he would put it. Because you listen to him, he keeps calling himself a fucking idiot and a retard and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I really feel like at least like comedic timing wise and knowing like when to say, what to say, he's like Bill Hicks level.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely put him up there.
You ever heard his rant where he's going off on the shitty crowd in Philadelphia for 15 minutes?
Oh, and the Opie and Anthony.
Herrera? Fuck you, you shitty piece of shit city. You only fucking assholes. You're fucking like the most famous piece of shit from here. You
fucking statue.
Fucking Rocky, a fictional fucking boxer. Joe Frazier's from here, you piece of shit. Like,
yeah, that
15 more minutes of this. Fuck you. It's amazing.
And he was like, I got 2 minutes left. Yeah, that was on the Opie and Anthony virus tour.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
If ever there's a city that deserves an hour of fuck you, it's Philadelphia.
So let's wrap. Yeah, let's wrap this up. Is there any last words? Anything we didn't cover that because we're a little over an hour, so I don't want to keep you guys here too long. But anything? Let's do plugs. Anything that we didn't cover that you want to get out there?
Well, for one, thanks for having us.
Of course.
It's been awesome. I'm sorry it
back.
took us so long to get back, but it's a good reunion. Really enjoy being on the show every single time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you for hosting. But check out my books, Epik Fails. It's a
EPIK Fails.
Well, the books are actually.
Oh no! Right. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
You shut your mouth.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, the first one's the Wright Brothers nose diving into history. The second one's the Race to Space Countdown to Liftoff.
The title, nose diving into history.
And we got book 3 coming out in January. It's Not So Great Presidents, historical presidents, I should say. And that one, Ben and I are looking to do a signing at the Smithsonian in D.C. for. So awesome. Fingers crossed. We're trying.
Well,
to get the
that seems very appropriate for the times. The Not So Great President.
You mentioned the fourth one was coming out in April.
Yeah. So check those out. You can pre-order them on Amazon. They're available wherever books are sold.
And honestly, and again, I don't mean to sound like a kiss ass, and I don't get anything from promoting this, but you really should check out his blog. It's really funny, like really, really funny.
I did an article recently on like nuclear fails.
Yeah. Oh my God. You want to?
I think it might be my best article
yet. Terror. The amount of times we've all almost died because some idiot did something stupid.
Someone dropped a wrench and it almost
killed everybody. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Don't read that article if you like sleeping at night.
I think the name of the episode might be Pant Shitting Terror.
But go to it was epicfails.com, right?
EPIK, and that's you can find the podcast there as well.
Yeah, and then mine would be comiczombie.net. And again, it's really just talking about like nerdy shit, comic books, pop culture stuff.
It's really great stuff.
Our podcast has been so far more focused on like movies. But that's just because we've only done a couple episodes of it and we haven't really got a chance to delve into it. But now that I've got the equipment I need, it's going to be a lot more of just like me running off.
We've got our work cut out for us. There's so much we can cover on
and we've already got like a handful of episodes where we know exactly what we're going to cover and how we want to talk about it. We just need to get the time to do it.
Oh, yeah,
that's the downside to co-hosting is that you kind of have to be together. Yeah. Since neither one of us are just like single dudes like running around.
Yeah, because even with Skype, it's still a little weird because there can be a little delay and
the sound might not be great.
Yeah, and it's just like because you can't really see each other. I mean, even if you have webcams, there can be a delay, and you just end up talking all over each other because I can see you guys, and I can see where someone's like, I'm about to say something, but. Okay, so that was a great episode, and it's been so long since I've seen you guys, and honestly, the books are amazing, and
Thanks,
I know it's been a long journey, because, back in the day...
Cliff notes, man. There's so much more.
Yeah, because back in the day, when we did the original podcast that you were on, you were working on proposals.
Yeah.
And so it's... I'm just so happy for you that you were
Thanks,
able
man.
to, it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And I'm always stoked to see people doing creative things, and even if you don't make any money off it, even if you make a little money off it, the fact that you got it done.
Yeah.
And it's still a dream of yours to keep publishing and writing and
definitely.
doing that. And I love that the two of you are doing these podcasts. So I think that's really cool. And for anyone listening to this, you can for now you can find this podcast on YouTube. The channel is Pretendradio Podcast, basically all one word. And I will have a download link in the description if you want to download that. And I will link it to our Facebook page and Instagram and all that stuff. And thank you guys so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
And
as always. Hoping to be back sooner next time. None of this 5-year hiatus anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
We'll be like, hey, did you guys have any luck avoiding the radioactive super apes on the way to the?
This is what we call editing, and we will end the show with. Where the fuck is Jim? So we'll say goodbye to everyone with.
And God bless the United States.
And God bless America.